This is Sometimes, and it was written by myself, Hugo Ibarra, and also by John Seidlitz. It was also illustrated by Katia, Lara. I used to believe things would always turn out the way I wanted. The dreams would always come true. Here's my story. It all begins in San Felipe, Mexico. Do you think Dad will be home when we come home from school today? I asked my mom. I'm not sure, Andres. I'm just not sure anymore, she said. 4 months had gone by since my dad left San Felipe to find work in Texas, in the United States. My dad was still sending us money every week, and all we had to do was go to a local store to get it. Until one day, the cashier told Mom that nothing had been sent to us that week. I had the feeling that something was not okay. I knew my mom was worried. After a difficult month, without news or money from Dad, something would have to happen. Something would have to change. A few days later, my sister Clara and I came back from school and found my tia Elena at the house. It was strange to see her. We knew she lived in Texas, and we were used to seeing her around Christmas time, but it was not Christmas yet. My mom explained to us that we would be leaving with my aunt the next morning, and that my dad was not coming back. The next morning, we packed up our things and got ready. We hugged Mom goodbye and got into Tia's car. When the car started moving, we saw our mom waving at us. I was not really sure that things would be okay anymore. My sister Clara wouldn't stop crying. After several hours in the car, my tia explained that we were getting closer to the border and handed us 2 small blue booklets. Take these, Aunt Elena said. You will probably need them when we get to the border. We finally arrived at a huge concrete bridge with a long line of cars, police officers, dogs, helicopters flying really low. So this is the border, I said to myself. It was our turn to cross the bridge, and a tall officer wanted to know where we were going. The officer looked at our documents, turned towards my tia, and asked her some questions. He said some things to us too, but we did not understand him. After looking at our documents for what seemed like a long time, he turned around, smiled, and said, "Welcome to the United States." A few minutes later, my aunt pulled over to the side of the road. She started crying and praying. We finally got to my tia's house about 8 hours later. She told us that we would be going to school the following week. On Monday, my tia took us to the school by her house. Everything looked different from San Felipe, and everyone was speaking English. Clara and I sat on a bench while Tia Elena filled out some paperwork. After a while, the secretary walked us to our classrooms. We were terrified. We dropped off Clara in a classroom, and I told her that I would see her after school, and we then went to my classroom. As she opened the door, the secretary explained to the teacher, Mr. Trevor, that I was a new student. "No te preocupes, que todo va a estar bien," he said to me in Spanish with an American accent. "Do not worry, everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna take care of you and your sister." I immediately felt at ease. It was the first time that I had smiled in days. We finished the day and went home, hoping that my mom would be there. But she wasn't. The teachers at school kept helping us catch up and learn English. Some would stay and work with us after school. Mr. Trevor said that I should always work hard. He said it would help me make my dreams come true. Christmas came and went, and eventually it was the end of the school year. But my mom did not show up. I wasn't sure I believed Mr. Trevor anymore. One great day, the following November, Clara and I were on the bus going home from school. As I looked through the window, I could not believe what I saw as we approached my tia's house. Standing at Tia's door was my mom, waiting for us. She looked very tired and a little older. She ran towards the bus, and Clara and I ran towards the door, ignoring the driver's orders to wait for the bus to stop. We jumped off the bus, hugged Mom, and cried for a long time, not wanting to let her go. "I missed you so much," she said in a broken voice. Clara and I could not stop crying. We spent the rest of the afternoon talking to Mom. She told us about how difficult her trip to Texas had been and how she had never stopped thinking about us. We did not want to go to bed that night, but Mom insisted that we had to rest to be ready for school the next day. I dreamt that night. I was at my 5th grade graduation. Clara, Tia Elena, Mr. Trevor, and Mom were all there. I suddenly woke up and noticed that the sun was already out. I was sweating and I jumped out of the bed, wondering if the day before had also been a dream. When I got to Clara's room, she was still in bed, but no one else was around. I panicked. And then I heard my mom's voice calling my name from the kitchen. I ran to her and gave her a big hug. She made me eat breakfast and get ready for school. I wasn't hungry, but I ate everything anyways. She was really there. Right before the bus picked us up, I asked my mom, "Will you be here when we get back from school?" "Of course I will," Mom said, and she kissed us goodbye. As I entered the building, I had a big smile on my face. Maybe Mr. Trevor was right, I thought, and dreams do come true sometimes.